Well, no wonder Danielle Harris wants to be in these new Halloween movies so damn bad. So Chromeskull Laid to Rest 2 tells the story of the titular villain healing up from the events of the first film while his apprentice cleans up and also gets a bloodlust of his own. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Laid to Rest reviews. If you did not see my first review, that is already live. You can check that out now on my channel, and both of these are both sponsored by and in collaboration with Cecil from the horror show. So his review is going to be dropping the same exact time as mine. Cecil was a patron of mine for quite a while, and this was a request of his, and we are doing them in collaboration with each other. The horror show is a very horror-centric channel where they do basically everything, all-encompassing horror, so if you're not already a subscriber to them, definitely check out his review and then subscribe to their channel. And he's also the one who is behind the upcoming fan film Dylan's New Nightmare, which I did a trailer reaction for, so if you're not familiar with that, also check that out on his channel and check out their Indiegogo campaign. Now, as far as Laid to Rest, spoiler alert, I guess if you haven't seen my first review, was not a fan of the first movie at all. I've never seen these movies before. I've heard of them, I'm familiar with them, but just never got around to checking them out. But despite really not being a fan of the first one, I was curious about the second one enough to give it a chance because, not only because we're doing this collaboration, but even if I wasn't, I would check it out simply to see if they had improved upon the first one, if the director had maybe more to say with the second one, if there was maybe more to the villain than they got to do with the first one. Just what potential did a sequel have to a movie that, to me, made a lot of mistakes? Now you get to Chromeskull Laid to Rest 2. Is it better than the first one? About that much. So starting off with the positives for Chromeskull Laid to Rest 2, just like the first one, if you're a gore hound, if you love the carnage candy, if you like your slashers to be soaked in blood, this one, just like the first one, has plenty of gore for you. The director is a special effects guy, so that's kind of what he's showcasing with these films, in my opinion, is how cool or how gory his special effects can be. There's a lot of kills in this one, probably more kills in the first one. A lot of them are kind of just slashes here and there, but there is like people's faces getting opened up. There's appendages being removed. There's some decapitations here and there, and all of it looks pretty real. It all looks pretty good. So if you're a gore hound, just like the first one, this movie will probably satisfy that itch. And my second and final positive with this one, which is one more positive than I gave the first one, which is why this one is slightly better than the first, is that I did dig the storyline regarding Brian Austin Green, the apprentice to Chromeskull, for the most part in this film. I was curious where it was going to go. It gave me a little bit more to chew on, a little bit more to get interested in as far as the story and as far as characters, which I was severely lacking in the first film. He's a pretty good actor, and I was curious where this was going to go. Is it going to end up in some kind of a big battle between the two of them? Is there going to be two Chromeskulls running around at the end of it? I was not sure, but I was curious enough through his character that I wanted to see the movie through to the end. And like I said, that's more than I could say for the first one. Now moving on to the negatives. These movies are horribly written. Like, again, I know if you come to a slasher film, especially a lower budget B-movie slasher film like this franchise, you might not be expecting any good writing whatsoever, and all the power to you. If you can be entertained without all of that, that's fine. I need a little bit more from my movies. This one, just like the first one, just the writing is not there. Like, there's things that happen, there's characters that have certain traits. Like this one, there's a girl that's legally blind that has no relevance to the plot whatsoever. Like, why does she have that disability, aside from being able to put one scene where she's kind of like looking around, doesn't quite know where Chromeskull is? Like, it's just, why is that there? The whole thing with Brian Austin Green, like I said, that was a positive. That was something that I was looking forward to see where it went in the climax of the film. Where does it go? Absolutely nowhere. Like, they build it up to where right as the third act begins to start, he's basically shaving his head, he's getting the Chromeskull tattoo. Like, he's basically saying, like, bitch, I'm the new Chromeskull. Like, Chromeskull ain't shit, I'm gonna show him how it's done. And then he gets taken out like that. Like, they build it up almost like there's gonna be this big battle between new Chromeskull and old Chromeskull, and that could have been a very cool place to take the third act, but no, I guess because they want to show how badass Chromeskull is in their own way, that he just takes Brian Austin Green out effortlessly. But the problem with that, and which is, I'm probably just gonna go full on negatives, just a big rant, not really section these off very much. The problem with that is that Chromeskull, to me, is not a very badass villain. Like, yes, the look is interesting enough. It's not as cool as I think some people make it out to be, because the mask to me looks very Spirit Halloweenish, like I said in the first review. But to me, he keeps getting knocked on his ass over and over and over again by people. Like, the dude just does not seem like a big threat to me. And the only reason that this guy survives more than 10 minutes in his own fucking series is because he is against the lowest form of protagonist in slasher films, to where they knock the killer unconscious and then they run away and hide in a corner somewhere. Like, there's literally a scene where they're in a cage of weapons. There's weapons all throughout these little chain link fence, and they knock Chromeskull the fuck out to where he's like laying down, and nobody grabs a weapon and just kills his ass. They just try to get out of the room and they run away. That's the only reason this dude survives. He's against a girl that is almost legally blind, and she literally knocks him almost unconscious like 2 to 3 times in the third act of this film alone. And to me, that's laughable. That's like Jason in Friday the 13th Part 2, where he's like clumsy and his fucking pitchfork is breaking in half and he's falling on the floor and shit. Like, no, you're not an intimidating villain. You're not a badass. You're not cool. And why the fuck do you have such a big secret society or like a whole collection of followers? Where the fuck did that go when you're going to talk about like writing? They introduced this whole aspect, which was another thing that I was kind of curious where they were going to take it, to where the movie opens up, there's some kind of a secret society or just people that are so enamored with Chromeskull that they're like loyalists to him, where they surgically put him back together, which is bullshit, by the way. And they're so like, their whole life is about setting this guy's kills up, like making sure that he's happy, like putting this whole program in place to where he can, you know, get off with all these kills. They literally exist only to facilitate this guy's murders. Why? We never fucking find out. Who is this Chromeskull guy? Is he like some rich tyrant where he can just pay all these guys hundreds of thousands of dollars, so they're like, fuck it, I'll help you kill people, whatever. You don't know. You get Danielle Harris thrown in here because reasons. She does nothing. She's just the secretary, basically. She's the loyalist supreme. I guess just like the Hatchet series, whenever you have a not very good slasher franchise, you throw Danielle Harris in there to try to give it some legitimacy. And then moving on beyond all that, there's, again, not a whole lot of character in this movie, to where, besides the intrigue of the Brian Austin Green character, there's not really anybody I give a shit about. Even Thomas Dekker comes back from the first movie as the lone survivor. Even him, I'm like, okay, whatever. He looks like a depressed emo guy. I have no faith that he's going to live through the end of this movie, because he's not like a heroic character. He's not an interesting character. He's just there. And then the other girl that they set up, which I've already kind of talked about with the blindness, she's, again, the same type of character that the hooker was in the first film, where it's just like, okay, random chick who's stuck in this situation because, and you have no reason to really root for her, no reason to identify with her character, no reason to like latch onto her, to root for her, nothing. She's just blonde that can't see. And you need more than that. So if you have a story that literally is going nowhere, if you have a villain that you're not really intimidated by, you're not really like rooting for, he's not badass like some of the horror icons out there where you almost root for the killer to a certain degree, if you have no characters that you can root for or really get interested in, what does this movie offer besides blood and guts? I can watch practical effects on YouTube. I mean, I just don't understand what they're trying to do with these movies. It's literally like the director is just trying to use this as like a business card for his special effects. Like, hey, look what I can do. Hire me to do better movies, please. All in all, guys, obviously this is just not the franchise for me. This is a 1-2 punch of just no thanks. Yes, there's some good gore. If you got a special effects guy making your movie, I would expect it to have good gore, and at least he delivers that. Yes, this movie does go a little bit, one step further in being able to be praised than the first film, and the fact that you have this apprentice character where at least it throws an interesting dynamic into the movie where you're not quite sure where things will end up. It's not just a typical kind of slasher template, so that was a little more enjoyable. But beyond that, this is more of the same that I had issues with in the first film. Just terrible writing, not very good directing. I mean, I didn't even get into it, like camera work wise, like cinematography wise, bland as all hell. So just, the dude should not be directing movies as far as I'm concerned. Be a special effects guy, help with that. You do good with the gore, just work on somebody else's movie. I don't know, supposedly there was a third Chromeskull, like, I don't know if it just got killed, I don't know if it didn't get the money that they wanted, but supposedly it's in some form of development. I will not be watching that one. That's all I can say. So if you're a gore hound, if this is the type of movie where you like these kind of B-movie slashers, kind of more the schlocky side of this genre, and you just really want some good gore and maybe a cool looking villain-ish, this might be the franchise for you. It's not for me. So if you were a fan of the first Laid to Rest, this one does have another interesting dynamic thrown into the mix that you might enjoy, but if you were like me and did not enjoy the first one at all, unfortunately this one does not give enough new to merit even watching it. So, not gonna say fuck this movie this time because it's not quite that offensive, but I will definitely tell you to skip it. So what do you guys think of Chromeskull Laid to Rest 2? Do you prefer this to the first one? Do you like both of these movies? Do you think I'm being incredibly too harsh on this? I got that comment today, which is very funny how subjective reviews can be too harsh. But nonetheless, do you like these films? Did you watch them and you despise them? What is any of your spectrum of thoughts? Let them down in the comment section below and we can talk about Laid to Rest and Laid to Rest 2. Apologies again, Cecil. I don't know if you like this one better than the first one or not, but these movies just aren't for me, buddy. So I appreciate the interest to see what my thoughts were going to be. Hopefully I didn't disappoint you at all. Hopefully it was at least moderately entertaining seeing me rant a little bit, but yeah, just not for me, so can't win them all. Fair enough. But like and share this video, guys. Please subscribe if you are not already a subscriber. Check the video description for Cecil's link. Go watch his review. See his thoughts that are probably very different from mine and see how his perspective was when watching this and get kind of both sides of the coin. And subscribe over there if you are not already a subscriber. You will enjoy a lot of their content. They do a lot of things in the world of horror. So if you're a horror hound, subscribe to The Horror Show. Check the video description as well for social media links like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, my Patreon page, which is a great way to give back to this channel and help this channel grow and get cool exclusive content for your eyes only, such as patron requests, which is why this video exists in the first place. That is a patron privilege. So check that out, guys, please. Also, my Teespring store. If you scroll down, you'll see all my merchandise designs. I got 31 on 31 designs. Got my Autop Stream logo down there. A lot of other older designs designed by my buddy Woody Bowen. Check all that stuff out. Another great way to support the channel, get cool merchandise for yourself. And if you just want to check out some more of my reviews, you can check those out by clicking right over here.